All right, here we go. This is not a scripted recording. I'm trying to get better at scripted recordings. Please subscribe. But I kind of, I put this together, pieced it together, did a little editing, and kind of just, I watched it once. Kind of just wanted to narrate, kind of like those DVDs of old, where there'd be like a version where the director and people are helping. There's a lot of action happening on early on. My big reds are taking on some house invaders. So I have my big red ant colony. Start out with 3, now they're up to 11 workers. And I've had these little house invaders. It's a Lasius species. I can't remember which one. I think they live in like my fireplace in the walls or something. But they're constantly just popping up and showing up around that part of my living room mantle place. And I would squish them, kill them, throw them away, all that sort of stuff. Ant traps, tons of ant traps, and they keep resurging months later. So at one time, my colony was growing, and I'm like, they need protein. Look at them attacking her. And all these invaders, the invaders are injured, on the brink of death for the most part. Some were decently healthy, as you saw. That first one got a lick in on my big red worker here. And now she's scanning the area, and as I watch these ants, I can really tell their eyesight is just terrible. Eyesight is just so poor. But the way they use their senses and the antenna to scan and search for danger and be careful, it's just really fun to watch. But these invaders have been plaguing me since I lived here, about 3-4 years in this house. And like I said, I usually squish them, kill them, brush them away. And I needed protein for my ants and the queens and just the colony. So I started putting dead squish ones into the outworld, this founding outworld. And I found the ants loved it. They were just munching away like they're at a cookout. So I kept it going and I kept upping it. And then one day I realized that one of the ones I thought I had completely squished was partially still alive. And I watched the worker ant attack it and eventually take it out. They're very cautious. So it's never my intent to put live ones in here. But I've also kind of, for this video, I kind of purposely, I purposely kind of knew that the way I was squishing them wouldn't likely kill these workers. And as you can see, there's one right below the dish in the shadow, kind of crawling around with whatever's left of its life. There's one to the right of the dish. Worker just went by it and blends in with the sand. And again, eyesight's not great. And most of the time it's one-on-one. Every now, I think later on in the video, there might be a second worker that comes and roams. I think I added a few more ants, we'll see. So I filmed this a little bit ago. This is like my second watch. So it's not a great justification if you're huge into like ethics of ant keeping and things, or if you're huge into natural order, which is I kind of lean towards natural order of things, and things naturally happen. But like I said, I don't like watching insects and ants and whatever in pain for the most part. But I justify it in the sense of putting these invaders in here, some like 1/3 alive, in the sense that I was smishing and killing them and brushing them in my trash already anyways. If there's any danger, it's the big reds getting hurt somehow, which sometimes they do get. There's a live one. I don't know if you saw it on the red paper in the corner. I don't know, it's on the ground. Yeah, they just keep wandering. It's so frustrating. Every now and then I find one in the carpet further into the living room. And I'll probably put out more ant traps again before the hibernation season starts. So now the worker seems to have sensed there's not that much danger going on. Here's me adding in more. I can't remember if their health status. I feel like there's more conflict, at least one more conflict. But now the worker feels less danger, so she carries off they're basically hunting at this point. Carries off her earned resources, earned food. And the other worker's going to hear about it, they're going to get excited, and some are going to wander out. So that one's pretty alive, and I'm, I said that's on me. I made that conscious decision to put that mostly alive one in, figuring it wouldn't cause any lasting damage to the big reds, most likely. Most likely she will end up dying. And I don't know, in a court of law or a Geneva Convention, would it be better to be squished to death or to have a chance at life? I feel like most prisoners of war would rather have a chance at life. But there could be an argument for many people, and here she is gathering a second, realizing, oh, this one's partially still alive, and kind of fighting it and tumbling. And they're very cautious. I used to think they were gung-ho and didn't care about their own lives, but they are very, they will defend their colony to the end, but they will try to preserve themselves very much too. And then she finds a new one, like, oh, that one's alive too. What is going on? Is what she's thinking, the big red worker. I see one in the tunnel, kind of talking to others, cleaning herself, and she's kind of making her way out to the entrance going, well, I want to check this out too. You see a few invaders roaming around, the ones locked on, and she kind of won that tussle, you saw that. Like the big red, and she stumbled a little bit. It's like sprayed some sort of acid and annoyed her and made her back off. So she wanders and finds the second one. Oh, reinforcements are here. Got a live one under a big red. Big red can't sense it. The live ones kind of just hang on to life, and then the backup finds this live worker, or live invader, or dying invader. So they're all dying invaders for the most part. It takes her head on. Being cautious again, they're very cautious. Decides to go after a different one that's less alive and process it for protein. Rushes it off into the tunnel. First worker is tracking down a partially live one. There was one time, it was just a worker, I don't know if it was the same one, but a worker, it was earlier, days ago. Worker was just chasing it around and around and around this water tower. Because that worker was just getting away and hiding, and finally got her cornered. So I try to make sure they're a little less mobile on their way to death. Going after the fresh entry again. Realizing she's not completely dead, taking her on. Jaws, stinger. Another one of the invaders probably trying to spray some acid or something. Enough to get her away. Second one's being cautious, going, okay, gonna avoid that one. And I'm gonna take this one. First worker still out there working hard. Being cautious, cleaning herself, keeping her senses sharp. Tool sharp. Realizes there's nothing in the dish. Back to that kicking and screaming invader. Okay, skipped ahead a little bit. Can't really remember why. I think that's the last of it for this moment, and we're just looking at them process. There's a worker out there just scanning inside the nest. It's a lot of hum of activity. You can see a few of the dead meat being processed. I call them meat invaders. They're basically essentially meat at this point. There's another video I create where I had a queen ant that died, a smaller Lasius queen. She died. It was unfortunate. She was in her own little area. And there's a second queen. I'm hoping she dug down and with some workers, and I'm hoping she's doing well. But the first queen ant I had put in there died, and so I took her out and put her in this big red's colony, and I watched them carry her in, and it was kind of sad to think about, but I was going to toss her outside anyways if I didn't have this colony, or in the trash. So I thought, there's plenty of other videos where people are feeding just insects, dead creatures, birds, whatever. I have a video about ants eating a dead bat. I did nothing to it. I think an owl got it. So it's just been fascinating, this process.